Right, so VIX 75, this is what we are looking at. Right, we had this resistance here. There's this resistance that has been broken, meaning the sales that we are still expecting might not happen anytime now, so long this market is above this resistance, meaning if it closes above this one, the probability of tomorrow's daily candle to push towards this level, it would be high. So once it reaches that level, that would be the first target. Second target is this level there, which is as well how it's going to close. It's also very, very important. How today's daily candle is going to close is very, very important. Why? Because we do have scenarios like fake outs, whereby you break out like this, then the next candle, you find it coming back. Today's daily candle is going to determine a lot of things. Today's daily candle. So fake outs is where that is what we call a fake out. So today's daily candle, if it closes and projects above there, we are still safe so long it closes above that one. It would be a safe opportunity for buys.
Okay.
Right. So if you check even on the 4 hour, you can see that already we broke above, then came back for a retest. So going to lower time frames, we're just going there to look for confirmations. If there are confirmations for buys that are there, we'll simply buy. But if there are no confirmations for buys, if it consolidates on smaller time frames, meaning this daily candle, it would be trying to push back inside the zone. Once it pushes back in, as we're expecting, it will be high. But so long it's above that zone, the expectation would be on the buying side of things, so long it's above that resistance.
Okay.
Right. So this is the resistance. Resistance broken. Right. So this is the resistance. Broken. Right. So we are now above the resistance on the 1 hour, you can see. So if ever targeting this high is here. Right. So this is the 1 hour. You also can see that above that, we can actually enter buys based on the break of this resistance. Once it's broken, one can actually take some buy positions there. Right. So I think the resistance is much more clearer even on 30 and 15 minutes. Right. You can see the resistance. Right. So once that resistance is broken, it's an opportunity for entry. Targeting this next high, this next daily high, which is quite a move. So once you break that resistance, buys are safe. If it doesn't break there, I also have this trend line at the bottom. Comes, fails to break above, comes, breaks this trend line. Here, one can actually take sales upon the retest here. If it breaks this next trend line, it fails to break above the zone that we're expecting, meaning the daily candle, it would have just been a fake out. If that happens, the buying side will buy above the resistance here. Okay.
Yeah.
Right, that is it for the VIX. That is it for the VIX. Any other instrument that you want to look at?
B5.
Ah,
B5.
C5 or B5. C5 or B5.
B5. In fact, the both. B5 and the C5 are twins.
Oh, is it?
Mm. This is B5.
Right, this is B5. B5, I'm looking at this area here. B5, I'm looking at this area. I saw that it was actually a support. It's actually a support right now. Weekly time frame is much more clearer. If you go to weekly time frame, you realize that's much more clearer. Then I have this market manages to break above here, The probability of buys continuing is high. So to the top, when I'm looking at my targets, I always use the high time frames. What the high time frames will be saying. That is the furthest target that I'm looking at, which is a swing high there. So that is the furthest, is actually the neckline of this double top neckline, broken, retested. So once we, it's also a resistance that might restrict price stuck now between a resistance and a support, where the price was stuck in between a close resistance. Wait for the market to break, safe to take buys from there. First target here, second target at the top there. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Right. So
Okay.
that is how we are going to attack B5. That is how we're going to attack B5, just by waiting. Once that zone is broken, mentions on lower time frames and get your entry. Right now, I don't have any need to go to lower time frames, because for me to go to lower time frames. So right now, we simply wait here. I'm taking buys, first target, second target, further there. So B5, that is what I'm looking at. Let's see. Because if you go, even if you go to lower time frames, you realize that on lower time frames, it's actually already buying. Whichever, if ever one manages to even get some buys there, but that zone that I marked is a crucial zone. This zone, very the market can still play around before. So once it's broken, that right now we're not going. So that is why I'm saying wait for the break. You know that. So here a lot of scenarios are bound to happen. Can come, fail to break, come to the trend line. It's what we call, an ascending triangle. An ascending triangle is maintaining the same high. You'll be having a resistance like this. The market comes higher, goes back, comes back, higher, low. That is an ascending triangle. It's also a confirmation for showing you that bullish pressure is most probably kicking in for this break. Once that break happens, the buys that you are going to take there are going to be much more confirmed, more than anywhere else. So rather wait for the break. Once that break happens, you can start buying B5.
Okay.
Yes. So C5. C5. Let's look at C5. Right. C5 already. I have some form of analysis there. For C5, if you check from the daily, we have been in a bullish market. This is a bullish market. We have been uptrending, right? Having been in an uptrend like that, you realize that go down. For example, here, when we're in an uptrend, high, low, high, low. Here, failed to make a high. First sign that most probably the buyers are losing their momentum. Yeah. So here you realize that it consolidated. That was that day of consolidation, which was also a break, or also lower low, lower high, lower low. Right now, somehow we can say it's break lower high zone. The probability of it coming down, it would be higher. So I marked a zone there. Chances for getting sales is very high for this session. So this zone is actually a zone from this consolidation that happened here. So in other words, remember what we said about consolidations. Once we have a consolidation, whichever side it breaks, whether it breaks, the sellers have won. So if sellers have won, we expect to be a retest back to the consolidation. So Here, so long we're below this resistance that I marked here, sales, the probability of sales is very high. So from that zone, we're targeting, once it manages to this trend line as our first target. Can you see?
Yes.
Right, so that is what we're looking at for C5. That zone that I marked, so long we are below that zone, the probability of getting sales is there. The probability of getting sales is there. So long we're below this zone that I marked there. Right, so if ever it breaks above, might have some buys, a continuation of buys. Obviously, you look at this if ever it breaks above this zone and also that trend line. But meanwhile, weight is right now, it's still below the zone where we're expecting to crash. So sales there. The anticipation of sales is still there. So where is sales? You can get them after the break of this, either this support or this mini support here. So I have two supports, this one or this one. Either one of those, that's the best just after the break of this one or this one. You enter your sales, your targets, you can simply target zone as well as these lows here. Can you see?
Yes.
Right, so C5, wait for to sell, you need to wait for the break of this support or this support. Once it's broken, you can sell. Then if this market breaks above here, the probability of having buys is going to be there. You understand?
Yes.
Right, so that is what we are looking at for crash 500. Once this support, we can check it. B5, once we break above that zone that we marked according, guys are also safe there. Or let's look at the 1 hour. Okay, this is 1 hour. Or according to the 1 hour, we have this zone here. That zone is break as well. Can actually give one some buying opportunities on. One can get some buying opportunities. Then if we break this zone that we marked according to the, we know that we are continuing with our buys. So either just close above here, one can start buying, break above there is a continuation of buyers. You understand?
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Right, so that is what I'm looking at for both C5, B5. Once you break above here, buys can to this previous high. You can actually consider shifting your stop losses to winning zone. Once it gets to this high winning zone as well on the daily and the H4. That is for B5. Because B5, remember I told you that the market is bullish and we broke above a major level of resistance and it's now on a major level of support. So that is what we're expecting, C5, B5, as well as VIX 75. I'm actually waiting for VIX 75 because I feel like the VIX is doing now. Remember what I said about having effect. If ever it comes and breaks, if it breaks this trend line below here, meaning ahead on the daily, meaning that might simply be a fake out. So sales are safe after, then the other sales, once we break this trend line, this next trend line, one can actually take more sales there. That is if it breaks this trend line, we are buying all the way. $40 is the minimum lot size. So that is a very clean setup for VIX. A very, very clean, easy setup for VIX. This is the easiest setup that you can ever find. So this one, I hope you're not going to miss it.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Well, that is a very simple setup. I'm saying above the resistance, we buy. Meaning if these two trend lines are broken, the market is simply going to obey that bias that we were having the previous days. Then we'll simply buy. You get my point.
Okay.
Yeah. So that is it for VIX. That is it for B5. That is it for C5. Any questions?
No.
Okay.